Might be a tumor.
It's not a tumor.
The Film Lounge presents...
Spoiler-free movie review!
First you gotta do the truffle shuffle. Come on!
with Chris Gooch.
I'm the dude. I've been watching you, and you watching me. My dear Miss Everdeen, make no mistake, the game is coming to its end.
You know, it seems you just can't be a legitimate franchise nowadays unless you're willing to split your final installment into two parts. Let's face it, Harry Potter did it with the Deathly Hallows, Twilight milked it with Breaking Dawn, Divergent is going to be doing it, the Avengers are doing it just to squeeze the most out of Robert Downey Jr.'s contract, plus Peter Jackson turned a fucking 300-page book into a 9-hour 3-part film with The Hobbit. So now we have the Hunger Games milking all those young adult fiction audiences' wallet with the Mockingjay Part 2.
For the first time in our lifetimes, we're standing together with 13 districts. Our future starts tomorrow at dawn.
Granted, the most frustrating part of this approach is that as an audience, we feel like we're being forced to pay twice for what is essentially one long film that clearly didn't need to be so long. As seems to be par for the course with these films, Part 1 is nothing more than filler before hitting the part that everyone wants to see. In the absolute final chapter, we see reluctant rebellion leader Katniss Everdeen risk everything to form an army to take out evil President Snow, played by Kiefer Sutherland's dad, Donald.
When we march together into the capital. To slow our advance, President Snow is building a minefield of traps. The sadistic inventions of game makers meant to make sport of our deaths.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 76th Hunger Game.
As we've already said, everything has been building to this, so it's fair to assume that we're gonna just jump right into it. But yet again, we have to build. This franchise has been very good at tricking you into thinking you're watching a full-blown action movie, but when you step back and look at it, there's a lot of talking. We've got deep heart-to-hearts, lots of pontificating, strategic meeting after strategic meeting, always focused on building the importance of what's at stake. This may seem like a criticism, and in some ways it is, but in other ways it's not.
Dear Miss Everdeen, make no mistake, the game isn't over.
As far as films based on young adult fiction go, the Hunger Games series is far stronger than your Twilights or Divergents. They cover broader themes, they know how to build tension, story, and character, they have a stronger pedigree of acting talent involved between Lawrence, Harrelson, Sutherland, Moore, and the final on-screen performance of the late, great Philip Seymour Hoffman. But the series still has Peter. Yes, Peter, the most useless person to have in a death battle royale. Once again, Peter is being dragged around by other characters, and like always, he serves more of a hindrance than help, which really makes you wonder about his appeal or purpose beyond a forced love interest. Now look, let's just quickly get through the nitpicky stuff. There are some conflicting narrative elements between propaganda and priorities. Characters are killed off for not confirming Everdeen's death, but then later the Capitol are completely happy to televise a report on her supposed death with no actual confirmation. We have two warring factions obsessed with their own brand, yet do nothing when they are being hacked during their own broadcasts. It just seems to be convenient for the plot. Jennifer Lawrence has definitely outgrown this franchise, to the point where throughout most of the film, she just looks bored and looks to have taken a leaf out of the Kristen Stewart book of acting. The film is overly long and could easily have been condensed. You know, like into one film. The ending is so long and drawn out, it makes Return of the King seem conservative.
Tonight, turn your weapons to the Capitol. Turn your weapons to Snow.
However, all these negatives don't overshadow what this series does really well. For a blockbuster, it's not afraid to tackle themes that really relate to our current climate. Previously, they've tackled issues behind reality television and have shown us the impact of propaganda. This time, they focus on the politics and casualties of war, the impact of being displaced, allusions to the Syrian refugee crisis, and the blurring of lines between heroes and villains during times of war. Say what you will, but you will not find themes like that in your Transformers movies, or many of your other big-budget affairs.
Snow has to pay for what he's done.
The finale is dark and grim, with some huge action set pieces, explosions, black oil runs, weird alien-like faceless creatures, falling ground, and all the other things you've come to expect from a Tomb Raider game. I mean, a Hunger Games movie. Overall, the film series wraps everything that needs to be wrapped up nicely, if not just a little grimly. But the question as to whether it is worth splitting into two would best be answered by the readers of the books. For my money though, I still feel like I've been charged twice for one film. The Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 2 gets 3.5 out of 5 stars. Although, if you half that like they did this final installment, then that score doesn't seem too crash hot.
It's the things we love most that destroy us.
I love you. I love you too.